Hello, Phil from the future here. If you're on a limited amount of time, I recommend skipping round one. It's not exactly a bad round, but my deck pops off much more in future rounds. Enjoy the show. Hello, folks. Phil Gallagher, aka Thraben U, here for another Legacy video. Today's video is sponsored by Play EDH, the largest Discord server for webcam EDH games, and we'll take a look at them a little bit later on. Today's deck list comes to us from Sean D, who wanted me to play with Greater Good. Note, Sean, I know you sent me another deck list before this one. I'm recording this one first because this one requires less work to play. Okay, thanks. All right, so let's take a look at Greater Good. Greater Good allows you to sacrifice a creature to draw cards equal to the sacrificed creature's power, then discard 3 cards. So as long as you are sacrificing a creature with a decent amount of power, Greater Good is a very powerful draw engine. And there's some creatures that maybe are going to get sacrificed anyway. So you can play Uro, sack it to Greater Good, draw 6 cards, discard 3 cards. Maybe you'll even discard another Uro that you can bring back later on. Or, I don't know, maybe you can play a Phyrexian Dreadnought for 1 mana and sacrifice it to Greater Good to draw 12 cards, netting 9 cards in the process. So this is pretty neat. So we're trying to be a dress down Phyrexian Dreadnought deck, and dress down removes the ability that causes you to sacrifice something, and you can do the same thing with Torpor Orb. And we've played Hunted Horror on this channel a handful of times in kind of an Orzhov Dreadnought deck shell that kind of worked in a similar way. The downside on this is very large if you're just going to play this out as a regular creature, but if you Torpor Orb or Dress Down or whatever first, this ends up being really strong. So we have a couple of cute things here. Number one, we do have a copy of the Mycosynth Gardens, which is another way to sort of deal with Phyrexian Dreadnought's downside. For 2 mana, when you play your Phyrexian Dreadnought, you can go ahead and just make a copy of it, and then you can sacrifice either the original Dreadnought or the Mycosynth Gardens copy of it to keep one of the two around. We're a little light for my liking on number of swamps to just naturally cast Snuff Out, because black is sort of the tertiary color in this deck list, but it's probably still fine. Maybe the only card in the main deck that you might not be super familiar with beyond those is Minor Misstep, which has been seeing a little bit of legacy play. The sideboard basically is just full of solid legacy staples, some of which say no very, very hard to certain decks. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and hop right into the matches here. If you're new here and you like what you see, please consider subscribing. And if you're a regular, throw me a like before this video begins. It is the easiest way to support my content for free. Let's battle. Okay, my hand's kind of whatever. I'm gonna keep it. This gets to start off with a ponder. I don't know that I get to get a basic island here. I think it has to be a dual land of one kind or another. I don't know whether Hunted Horror or Endurance is going to be more important in the short term. It depends on whether or not I find something like a Dress Down. I think I'm going to get Underground Sea and see where this road takes me. That's fine. Yeah, I'm fine taking a land and a brainstorm, I guess. I'm fine taking a land and a brainstorm. Just not super excited here. Unlike kind of the maybe like Bant versions that look like this, I don't feel like my removal is as good. Like Swords to Plowshares just very generically says no, whereas Snuff Out usually says no. And Snuff Out costs me life, whereas Swords to Plowshares doesn't. I think I am going to start on a brainstorm here with the intention of then using a ponder to shuffle afterwards. I don't really know what I'm playing against yet, which makes decisions tough. Hunted Horror isn't looking great right now. Put back a brainstorm, play a trop, and follow that up with a ponder. Usually I will shuffle here. Dress Down though. Dress Down is one of the cards that I'm actively looking for. Play a Dress Down at the end of my opponent's next turn. Can't play both Dreadnought and Uro doing that. I think I'm just going to shuffle this. Okay. We found the other hunted horror, or maybe the same hunted horror. Insert conspiracy theories about the shuffler here. I feel like I'm taking game actions without really accomplishing anything. Not really interested in giving up my land yet. I think I just want to continue to hit land drops here. Oh. Yeah, this is fine. Yeah. 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 No shuffle. Play gardens. Pass. I have minor misstep up for an emergency. Otherwise, I have end of turn dress down into some very big plays. Yep, that's fine. I'm not firing off a minor misstep unless I sense something unfair happening. All right. Sure. I don't really know if we're working against like a control deck yet, a Stoneblade deck yet. Need a little information. Yes, that occurs because somehow I have 0 interaction with that. I think my opponent almost certainly has Force of Will in their hand. I don't think you just tap out for a Jace after neither player has done anything for a few turns without having something as backup. Alright. Thing number 1. Cast a Phyrexian Dreadnought. Thing number 2. Cast a Phyrexian Dreadnought. I think I need to hold up minor misstep in this turn cycle. I don't know. If my opponent doesn't have exactly Supreme Verdict, it's fine to just jam Hunted Horror as well here. But protecting one of these seems quite good. Let's ponder and then hold up minor misstep. That's like Schrodinger's Torpor Orb. I don't know whether or not I want it until I see the next turn cycle played out. I think I take it. There's like a 99% chance one of these gets bounced. Then I'll go ahead and fetch. Find another Underground Sea. Call it a turn. Goodbye, Dress Down. By the way, I think I've said this in other videos that I've recorded for this week. That's not something that I was prepared to deal with. Like, I was ready for Jace plus another removal spell or something, but that was pretty brutal. Okay. Is technically Jeskai control. Dress Down's cool. I'm just gonna try to resolve a Torpor Orb, though. Force pitching Jace. Minor misstep does not interact with that. I feel like I've taken game actions for 5 turns without accomplishing anything that matters at all. Everything over here just feels so incredibly clunky. I have to let that happen. Hate that I do, but I think I have to. I need to play the Dress Down on my own turn in hopes of setting up some of these things in a meaningful way. Sure. I technically have a line that involves me playing a Dress Down right now to attempt cool endurance shit. I don't think that's necessarily good. I just open myself up to sorcery speed, prismatic ending. Fuck. That's so annoying. Okay. Find the Force of Will to punish me for waiting. Okay, it's a ponder. Sure. Alright, that's no shuffle there. End of turn, attempt Dress Down. I'll air quotes draw a card. Oh, I do actually get to draw the first card because of Narset here. How do I feel about Uro? Trying to minor misstep up right now to protect the endurance. I think I just wait. So likely that my opponent has the swords. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and fetch a Bayou right now. Thoughtseize, target you. I'm just gonna fucking concede. I'm not beating all of that plus 2 active walkers plus Snapcaster Mage to flash swords back. Yeah, absolutely not. Yeah, I think my opponent is the real control deck here, and I'm not a good enough combo deck to beat them. Deck doesn't have Urza Saga to fish out Dreadnoughts either. Fuck. Okay. Don't like anything about this matchup. I don't think my sideboarding gets a lot better. Like, I can do some things like Veil to fight against counterspells, but it'll be bad against Teferi, and something like this isn't an out to a Mentor. And I have 3 removal spells in my main deck that can kill a Mentor. I'm always going to play this Carpet of Flowers. I think I'm always playing Force of Negation. Yeah, Veil isn't actually protecting me against a lot of stuff either, because like a lot of times I have to do like say 3 mana worth of stuff in a turn, and having that 4th mana available is tough. I don't feel like my sideboard is helping me much with this matchup. I feel like a lot of times I use 2 or 3 cards to do something like create a 12/12, and then my opponent answers it for 1 mana. Uh, uh, I can end of turn 2 dress down and create a 3/4 flash creature using 3 cards that my opponent answers for 1 mana with the Swords of Plowshares. I think I'm supposed to keep this. I'm not happy. I I think this hand has enough things that are potentially hits to make this worth keeping. Like if I hit a land, this is fine. If I hit a Dreadnought or similar card, is fine. Another dress down. Very cool deck. Very cool. This is kind of what I mean with the clunk here. Where like I'm masquerading as a control deck, but my hands are often going to look like this with close to 6 cards that do nothing cumulatively. Sure. Land drop, please. Thank you. I think I just take a card out of Uro here. Off Tropical Island. Already got 3 cards in graveyard towards Uro. Okay. Am I just getting swords immediately? Okay. Getting swords immediately while my opponent has mana. Yes, that will just become a land drop. That's fine. Okay, it's not a 3 mana planeswalker, which is good for me. But yeah, just kind of talking through some things here. Like, I have the choice of casting a Dress Down or an Endurance on my next turn cycle. I can't effectively do both the way that matters, and Dress Down doesn't work together with any of the other cards that are currently in my hand. Okay, now it works together with a card that's in my hand. I'll be passing my turn here. This is incredibly awkward, though. Because, like, I can cast an Endurance, attempt to clear my opponent's graveyard, and then, like, Snapcaster Swords is something that can just happen in response. I will let that resolve. I just have Abrupt Decay. I will decay this now. Opponent chose not to use the ability. Not sure whether they're actually supposed to look at that or not. Cool. Mono Dress Down control is fucking doing wonders over here. I'll pass the turn. I'm going to go insane by the end of this league. Sure. I believe since my opponent has shown me Spell Pierce, I am supposed to do this, pitching a Dress Down rather than tapping 5 lands to do this. End of turn. Cast an Endurance to clear out my opponent's graveyard, so that Snapcaster Swords doesn't answer this Endurance. I guess I'm just going to cantrip with this, and then any cantrip or Dreadnought effect that I draw is potentially potent. Hey. Let's go ahead and do my combat first before casting anything else here. My opponent goes to 15. I think I will Brainstorm first rather than Thoughtseize first. Ooh. I always keep Dreadnought. I always keep one of Force of Negation or Thoughtseize. I think I keep Force of Negation, and then next turn I can have Thoughtseize and Force of Negation available. Yeah. 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 In the timelines where my opponent just has multiple removal spells. God damn it. Please don't have it here. Okay. Good. I needed that. See what they've got. Yep. That 1 mana answers all of my hard work very, very handily. Sure. I mean, my opponent's at 11, and I get to take whatever their best card is here. And assuming they can't answer my stuff, I will have a Force of Will to protect this Endurance afterwards. Okay. So they get a 2-1. Is there just a land in hand? Fantastic. I mean, again, as long as I dodge a good play this turn, I have Force of Will to protect this Endurance. But Ponder was one of their best things to draw because now they get 4 looks at something that matters. Fuck me! Sure. Alright. That's cool. That's fucking dandy. Absolutely. Fuck me. Existence is pain. My opponent told me they were a fan of the channel and podcast. I didn't know they were also a fan of fucking bullying me. They might get the flawless victory. Alright. We're crashing in. It's possible there's a second Snapcaster Mage. Or no, if they had a second Snapcaster Mage, they would have done it. They might just be buying time with a chump block, and that's okay. I win this game after Ruination resolves. I will be very happy. It's been an emotional roller coaster over here, though, folks. Alright. Yep. I presumably get 1 Force of Will effect for the rest of this game. Like, this is probably the last card that I get to play this game. I have to wait to do it on something that will answer Endurance. No! Alright. That takes Endurance out of play. Most of my lands are in my graveyard. Cool. The remainder of this round is probably me saying okay to every spell that my opponent casts for the rest of the game. Just in case. Just in case I get a land. I'm going to concede for my sanity here. GG's. Today's video is sponsored by PlayEDH. You can find them at playedh.com, which will link to their Discord server, which is the largest Discord server for finding Commander/EDH webcam games. And what's really neat about them is that they will give you personalized ratings of your deck so you can pair with appropriate players. In addition, on May 3rd at 8 p.m. Eastern, I'm going to be doing a discussion on their Discord about like similarities between Legacy and EDH and deck building in the two. And then at 9 p.m. Eastern on May 3rd, I'm going to be doing a stream with them so you can see me in action. So consider checking them out. All right, I will keep my hand here. I know it's round 2, but I feel like this deck is just, like, not very good. Like, I have a very reasonable mix of lands and spells. I have a protection card, I have a cantrip, and I still feel like I'm probably going to do nothing for many turns. This probably has to get an Underground Sea because of this Snuff Out. So I'm gonna Ponder. Brainstorm's fantastic here. I'll take that and, probably just a Delta, because it looks like I am on the Burrow plan here. Basic Island. Sure. No shuffle there. I think I'm just going to play a fetch land and pass the turn. I don't really have enough information to brainstorm well as of right now. I might miss out on casting something like a Ponder immediately. But I think I'm much more interested in waiting to see if my opponent plays a creature. You know, if something like a Stoneforge Mystic or a Dragon Rage Channeler comes down, it changes a lot about my turn cycle. Stuff Out goes back. 1 land goes back. Go ahead and fetch. Getting a Trop. Gotta work towards the appropriate Uro colors. I have a lot of ways to play this turn. I can just play Dress Down into Phyrexian Dreadnought with a Force of Will backup, but I think I'm playing against a control deck. And I think I'd rather go for an end of turn Dress Down and then be able to slam multiple threats at the same time, hopefully with Force of Will protection as well. It's gonna be another round where I just totally fucking eat shit if my opponent is playing a Terminus or Supreme Verdict deck, though. Alright, there's a fetch. I'm presuming this is basic plains. Oh, nope, Tundra. What are we working with over there, opponent? My opponent probably has no idea what I'm doing yet. I haven't played anything that telegraphs what deck that I'm on. So, like, from their perspective, I could be a Lurin, I could be Ant, I could be a bug control deck list, I could be this pile of bullshit that I'm on. Could be Witherbloom Apprentice combo. Alright, so end of turn. I think I'm going to go ahead and fetch before I draw a card. I don't really want to draw a land. Another Underground Sea, I guess. End of turn, dress down. Draw my card. Fantastic. That's basically exactly what I wanted. Don't want this. So let's cast a Phyrexian Dreadnought. Resolves. Mycosynth Gardens is now another copy of that card that I will make at my convenience. This kind of protects me from a removal spell. I don't think I play the Uro here, despite the fact that that was a part of my original plan. Alright, goodbye, dress down. Okay, so when Swords happens, we'll go ahead and make another copy of it first. Then I'm still going to try to get rid of that. I go ahead and force pitching Brainstorm. And then this, in theory, kills my opponent next turn, and I have Uro as backup for if something goes wrong. Okay, cool. I expect to lose at least one of these Dreadnoughts to something. But maybe not yet. Snapcaster Swords. Okay, I mean, that is occurring. I can't stop that. This, in theory, still kills my opponent next turn. Yep. Hunted Horror, not exactly looking great here. But let's punch my opponent for 12. They trample card, so I don't need to snuff out Snapcaster Mage here or anything. Alright, they're down to 7. Let's Uro. My backup plan for if Dreadnought doesn't work out. No. I don't exactly know what I'm looking for with this Ponder. Dress down and Phyrexian Dreadnought. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. We can work with that. Be able to dress down Hunted Horror and Dreadnought, in theory. This is a repeat of a previous round. Okay, cool. That doesn't immediately flash back a removal spell, which is nice. Oh, do your thing. Ooh, okay, they found it. That's fine. I guess I snuff out a Snapcaster Mage then. That will deal me 4 points of damage by next turn. This is so much better once I'm on 5 mana. I think I just do this. Attempt Uro. Uro resolves. No. Cool. You're a card late, Force of Will. You're a card late. Address down now. I probably need to just make this 12/12 Trampler, right? Probably just need to make... actually, I probably leave up both of these, so that if I spike any land, I can do more stuff. Alright, take my draw, not a land. 1 mana, 12/12. Call it a turn. I've got Force of Will protection for my 12/12. I can safely attack, well, air quotes safely attack with both my creatures next turn. I don't get to be very picky with this Force of Will, unfortunately. It probably just has to get pointed at the first white spell that my opponent casts. Sure, that's fine. Also, if you wonder how much, good lighting matters for content production, me moving my good lighting out of my office to continue moving is a great indication of that. It's very dark now, and the overhead light is on. Okay, so Brainstorm resolved. Alright. That may mean that I'm going to eat something like a Terminus, like my opponent's going to attempt to Brainstorm into Terminus on my turn. Otherwise, the Angel attack is super weird. Yeah. I have to let them cast the Terminus, otherwise I just have to deal with it on their turn instead. I guess in theory the Dreadnought attack kills them then, but... Force, pitch, Uro, hope they don't have Force. They have Force. They have their own dress downs. Yeah, I was really planning on casting an Uro here, but... Hunted Horror is just a lethal-sized threat next turn. So let's just drop a 7/7. Alright, goodbye, my own dress down. My opponent has to find a new piece of white removal or a. Yep, okay. Mystic Sanctuary puts Entreat the Angels back on top. Fuck me. Okay. I guess I'm pondering for Force of Will. I guess I can Uro first. That gets me one card deeper. Snuff Out's not great. Now I ponder looking for Force of Will. Nope. Shuffle found the Boseiju. Yep. The Twilight Mire in this deck. I didn't realize that. Okay. I play this as a land. Bring back an Uro. Gain some life. And play a fetch land. I think I wait on Snuff Out. My opponent attacks with too many angels. It can leave me with a way to actually make a profitable attack with an Uro. Okay. I'm at 38. If I attack, my opponent blocks with all 3 angels. That's probably fine. The game plan is whittle through these angels. Throw a Trop into play. Yeah, that's fine. Kill 1. Yeah. Play Bayou. Fetch. What fetches are left? Misty Rainforests and Deltas are left. Let's grab a Snow-Covered Island. I think I just hardcast this. Blow up an angel. Attempt to bring back the Uro again. Draw a card. I'm not going to put that into play. Let's save that land for Brainstorm. I played a land this turn specifically so that I could get to 8 mana. Sure. Okay, cool. Only 1 copy of Mystic Sanctuary. That's very good to know. Oh. So my opponent has an answer to Uro of some kind. Terminus. I'm very glad that I have another Uro. Not great. I get to take another card draw here. Thoughtseize is not great. I will cast it. I'll see what's up over there. It is a land. Okay, so we're in pretty similar positions. I think my opponent is very favored to win this game. Like, their cantrips are just notably better than my cantrips here. And they have more permission than I do by a lot. Yeah, this is fine. This involves me just playing a handful of Brainstorms to fill my graveyard a bit. Let's go 1. Ooh, I think I put back 1 Dreadnought here. Play Misty. 1, 2, 3. This will be 4. Gets my last, or I guess not my last fetchable, but pretty close to it. Gets Forest. Cast a Brainstorm. Oh. Those are Magic the Gathering cards. We'll bury Abrupt Decay. I think bury Torpor Orb. Then 2, 3, 4, 5. Do Uro things. Draw a card. No, I'm not putting a land onto the battlefield. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana. I have more than 8 mana. I don't play Torpor Orb this turn. I don't know. Maybe I do because of Snapcaster Mage. Prismatic Ending. Okay, that was the reason that I didn't. Although I think my opponent has to just answer the Uro. Cast Torpor Orb. That's fucking awkward. I've got a Greater Good. Alright, let's do the thing. Sacrifice Phyrexian Dreadnought. I will discard some cards. I will discard Thoughtseize, Uro, Uro. Don't need to sack anything to that ability. Play a land. Oh, shit. Keep this Boseiju. Oh, I should not have discarded double Uro, by the way. I didn't realize I did not have another blue card in my 12-ish cards in hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's fine. I'm just going to discard Polluted Delta rather than play Endurance at sorcery speed. Yeah, but I went from being 100% win to win this game to being like 99% chance to win this game. I guess if it comes down to it, I can play Endurance and fish for a blue card that way. It's just going to be a Swords to Plowshares or whatever. Okay. Yeah. Torpor Orb is symmetrical. Chunk of Greater Good. This is a lethal attack. I don't need to show my opponent Abrupt Decay. I guess I didn't need to show my opponent's Endurance either, for that matter. Okay. Hate this matchup. Hated it last round. I hate it this round too. I want Carpet. Or Mana Acceleration. My Greater Goods actually did something, which was cool. I was worried about those not having any effect the entire video. Veils and Flusterstorms are kind of Snuff Out's kind of Thoughtseize is kind of Gonna get rid of Thoughtseize for Carpet and Force of Negation, I think. I don't know, I just feel like what I'm doing is so clunky. I feel like a lot of times the game isn't going to go on that long. Like, in that game, I could have held up Veil of Summer. I don't know that that's always going to be true. Like, I have 3 removal spells in my deck. Like, this is what I have to use to clear out Snapcaster Mages and treat the Angel tokens. And I needed all of them last game for sure. Maybe something like this? I don't know. Swords to Plowshares is so fucking good against me. Maybe I can't cut that. I don't know about these Veil of Summers. The fact that they don't interact with the white cards is really kind of a deal breaker here. Yeah, this hand is fine. I'm going to get rid of the stop on my opponent's upkeep. It seems like this is the sort of game where one of us might time out. That was game 1. Alright. Bayou. Carpet. Second main phase. Yes. Add blue. Ponder. Additional land drops and ponders are fine here. I'll take it. Not excited about it, but I'll take it. Yes. Blue mana. Fetch. Yeah. I think I will find a basic here. I think this game is going to be awkward enough and long enough where my opponent's Ruination or whatever could realistically end up happening. Unfortunately, I can't use this to find the forest that I was initially thinking about doing. Cool! That makes it real hard for me to win now. Burrow bullshit was 100% plan A in this matchup. Let's ponder and start trying to figure out plan B. None of that. I've already made my land drop. Alright. I've got mana. That's not a problem. That is interesting. It's like legitimately interesting. Makes playing out something like a Hunted Horror much safer. Land drop. Mentor. I have a Snuff Out for that. I'm going to wait till my turn. That turns on Force of Negation, but turns off other nonsense. Let's play this. I think I start with Dress Down. I Snuff Out in response to that. Yeah. Nice. Getting blasted. I am getting blasted. So now, I will play a Phyrexian Dreadnought. Sack it to Greater Good. Draw 12 cards. Discard 1, 2, 3. I played a land. I've played a land. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I'm just discarding some cards here. Discard a Greater Good. Discard a Hunted Horror for being mana intensive. I guess this land. I win this one pretty quickly here. Go ahead and attempt an end of turn Dress Down. Draw a new card. Oh, that's incredible. So I Wasteland, kick my opponent off of white. Play a Dreadnought. I think with 2 pieces of protection, I can play a second Dreadnought. Like, I can just draw so many fucking cards with Greater Good that even if I blow through all of these counterspells, I can just find more. Alright. That's not Supreme Verdict mana. Sure. I minor misstep it. Absolutely not. Goodbye. Okay. Well, GG's. We didn't expect this to work, but it did. Okay. I was gonna lose this round. Playing against Dredge in all likelihood. I have 4 cards that interact with that deck, basically. Can't really keep my hand. I have a Dreadnought and a Mycosynth Gardens, but I don't have the 3rd mana to get there. I also don't have a Force of Will effect. Gonna just mulligan. This has a Force of Will effect. I'll pitch the Snuff out and pray. Don't have proper card manipulation here. Oh, also, I stole my girlfriend's lamp. So, the lighting's not perfect, but I'm not exactly sitting in darkness anymore. We try to stop the first thing that puts a card into their graveyard in hopes that this buys me time to, hello, do cool shit. This is quite strong. They unfortunately had a second way to put cards into the graveyard. LED lets them go ham here. Alright. I think I Torpor Orb. Maybe I don't, actually. Press down is better, kind of, against discard. Unless it's like multiple Cabal therapies. Alright. So this one happens. This one is basically never going to hit. Yep, that's fine. Alright, cool. Fetch. A tropical Underground Sea? An Underground Sea. Play Dress Down. Draw a card. Thoughtseize is not bad. Thoughtseize stops some of the scariest possible things that can happen by taking something like a breakthrough. Hey, a breakthrough. And I'll drop a 12/12 and hope that's good enough. My opponent gets an Icarid. And they have dredged a Grave Troll. Not a great dredge. They're gonna Cabal Therapy me. Probably taking my Greater Good. Because the blue deck drawing 12 cards is not super acceptable. Yep. I just kind of have to hope that 2 Dreadnought attacks actually kills my opponent. It usually will. But Dredge can do some wild shit. Drop a Torpor Orb. We'll see what my opponent can do. Get to junk the Imp here. Alright, they've taken a normal draw, presumably trying to hit something like an LED to go wild with. Oh man, it's so important that we won game 1. Gives us a snowball's chance in hell of stealing one of the post-sideboard games. Need crop rotations for these things, and I probably play Veil of Summer for the discard effects. But this is not really enough interaction, and it's awkward interaction. I guess I also have an Endurance. Snuff outs are bad. Most of my opponent's creatures are black. Greater Good is very slow. Just eliminate that. Alright, why is Crocus over here? So crop rotation, bog, surgical, force are all happening. These flusters need to get in here, and then these are in the playable category. Hydroblast hits 1 card specifically, but it's a pretty important card. Decay is not super great. That becomes a Flusterstorm. Not sure if I'm supposed to cut a land if I'm bringing in Bojuka Bog. I think I treat Bojuka Bog like a spell. I think I cut Hunted Horror for being awkward. It gives me Fluster and 1 Veil. There's 6 things that enable a Dreadnought. Plus Gardens. 1 Veil is fine on the draw. I might play another when I'm on the play. I am not sure that this is keepable. I Force of Will the first thing that my opponent does, and then I Wasteland their land. Is that fine? Maybe. Not excited about it. I think since Dreadnought is already a hit because of Mycosynth Gardens, it's good enough. Force Pitch Dress Down. Wasteland. Your Mana Confluence. And hope the combination of those 2 things crippled their hand. Nice. That buys some time. Does not buy a lot because they can just hard discard Dredgers. That's very much something that they can just do. Okay. I think I am going to go ahead and do this now. There's some timelines where I miss on 3 blue cards, and this is rough. Put back Bayou. Batch. Grab an Underground Sea. And pass the turn. Got more interesting. Sure. That's not what I want. I kind of needed any, like, creature or Uro or spell. Basically not just the traditional land. My opponent's got a hard discard here. I may end up bogging them. Do some other stuff before I decide. If I want these, I have to keep all of them. I don't think I want to do that. There's a Torpor Orb. Okay. Bog, target you. That successfully happened. I think I hold up Fluster rather than play Torpor Orb here. I have lots of land. Mana is not innately the problem. An Icarid this time. I will Thoughtseize my opponent so that they cannot hard discard a Nature's Claim that is not currently castable. You can keep that. We'll take a Breakthrough. Then I will cast a Torpor Orb. Icarid triggers but doesn't really do anything. Opponent's chilling again. Ew, Dreadnought. So, I play a Dreadnought. I will immediately Mycosynth Gardens to copy it. And this is lethal damage next turn. That should beat just about everything. Sure. That is a Nature's Claim. And I will just Flusterstorm that. Alright, we win the match. 100% did not expect to win this one. This has no mana. Auto Mulligan. This has mana so that I keep. I'm probably pitching Dress Down here. I am going to get a Tropical Island. I need to work towards blue, green for Uro, and Wasteland is not going to contribute to my Uro count. Yes. So basically, I'm looking for mana sources, is what I was about to say. I am going to keep these. Alright, good stuff. Actually, maybe the Delta should have gone on top, or if this gets Wastelanded. Okay, sure. No shuffle with that Ponder. I think I'll just jam a Torpor Orb here. Like, if my opponent uses a turn to Prismatic Ending that, cool. But sometimes this will randomly just shut off my opponent's deck if they're playing like a Stoneforge deck or a Thassa's Oracle deck or something like that. Alright, I got 2 cards out of it, and that's fine. And I can just, like, play fair Uro Magic after this. I'm in danger. Delta was the 3rd card down, so I'm looking at fresh cards. I need to find some sort of interaction. Dress Down's neat. Dress Down's cheeky. Okay. Will not shuffle my library. I'll pass turn. Yes. I'm going to go ahead and let my opponent combo and then stop the Thassa's Oracle. I'm going to auto-yield to this and just kind of let them do their thing. I'm hoping that my opponent is lazy here and just mills themselves out fully rather than stopping to Cabal Therapy me along the way, which they should do. 1, 2, 3 dazes. That resolves. They'll probably name something generic like Force of Will. Yep. Now you get to see my Dress Down. I see 3 dazes. I don't see a 4th daze. Yeah. That's Dread Return. Fetch. Underground Sea. Attempt to Dress Down, and the 4th daze gets me. Or Force of Will, sure. Okay, I mean, I knew what I needed to do to win. I knew how I needed to play the turn. And it did not happen. I am a deck with, like, Torpor Orbs and Dress Downs and stuff. So that's nice. So, I have cards that do things sometimes. And what I mean by that is, sometimes Bojuka Bog stops my opponent's combo, and other times they just cast a Thassa's Oracle from hand. Same is true of, like, Surgical Extraction. Sometimes a Force of Negation stops my opponent's combo, and again, other times they just cast Thassa's Oracle from hand. So, like, things are awkward. No, no, no. These are the pile of things that I can think about. Don't think I get to play with greater good here. I think I cut these for being the weakest portion of my deck. This gives me 5 slots to mess around with. Problem with Flusterstorm and Force of Negations is they don't actually deal with the creature side of the deck. Kind of light on ways to address the creature side. Minor Misstep is not insane. I'll probably keep it in play like this. Possible I should be going down a land, though, to play one more piece of interaction. Don't want this Bog in hand. I mean, I'll keep this. I'm not excited about it. I think I just hold up Minor Misstep on turn 1 rather than playing Ponder. Not like I'm going anywhere real fast anyway. Alright, that's fine. A new Ponder. I would like to brainstorm this Bojuka Bog back into my deck immediately. Sure. Okay. Bog always goes back. I think I'll send a Ponder back as well. I'll pass the turn. Stoneforge Mystic. Take this opportunity to fetch. Really want Bayou here. I just want to trop. Pitch Minor Misstep, probably. Yeah. Alright. I have Crop Rotation for Bojuka Bog available as a thing that I can do. I think I just play an Uro, though. Just draw that card. Alright, extra land drop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I should do this now. I will ponder. Sure. Yeah. 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 No shuffle. Got this sneaky little dress down. I have to decide whether or not I'm holding up in my next turn cycle. Urza's Saga. Yep. You have Cauldron now. You do have Cauldron now. And Nomad's Encore. Sure. Save this dress down for a little bit later because of this, I think. Bleh. Nukes my whole graveyard to cast Uro. I didn't leave up Crop Rotation. Definitely matters. Alright. Resolved. Should have left up Trop. Thinking about what if I drew a Thoughtseize and got to take Cauldra. Would have been pretty clutch. I think not having Crop Rotation up drops a layer of protection against the combo. I guess that's worth brainstorming in response to. I would force a will to protect that potentially. Oh, Snuff Out's good. Put back. Crop Rotation. Rest down. I beat the fair side of my opponent's deck now and lose to the unfair side. And that just is what it is. I think I'm supposed to go ahead and do this. And the Cauldra doesn't fuck up my Phyrexian Dreadnought based kill, which is otherwise coming. So, yeah. Yeah. Draw my card. Play this. Okay, that's very good. Now I can't copy it. Alright. Back dress down. Opponent gets to make a construct. Then search up a Shuko or whatever. Yep, that's fine. I don't want to go after the Wasteland for Urza Saga, just before you ask. I am too scared of losing to Cephalid Illusionist, and maybe there's some world where these two cards together can beat that. Sure. Okay. This is eye control, right? You control. Yep. Thank you, deck. Very cool. Yep. Also grows the construct by 1. I just die to this. Like, I'm fine versus the graveyard portion of the combo. I'm just going to lose to fire stuff. Need like a brainstorm here to have a chance, I think. Snuff Out doesn't kill black creatures. Yeah, I am dead. GG's. Turn 2, dress down. Turn 3, Dreadnought. Keep. Alright. Land pass. Hi, Phil. Am I on TV? You will be. Once upon a time, I'll reset this upkeep stop while I'm thinking about it. Walking Ballista. Oh no, friend. Did you get tricked into playing the Hardened Scales deck list? Urza Saga. Pretty legit. You got tricked into playing the Urza Saga deck list. I'm never going to force a will that. I do think well, maybe I don't brainstorm end of turn. No, this is just my pitch to force a will. Unless I find a new force of will. I have to remember to post this video after the Hardened Scales video. That video has its moments, but this deck list is not great. Yeah, I will take that damage. So, do I want to make a 12/12? Or do I just want to save this Urza Saga as a controlling element? Sorry, this dress down. I think I just want to make a big dumb idiot. I have 4 dress downs in my deck. Like, I find another a good portion of the time. Okay. So I can go ahead and brainstorm now. Oh, this is pretty good. We'll get rid of Greater Good and Tropical Island. I will Wasteland Urza's Saga. On Overflow to mana. That's fine. Then I will go ahead and play my 1 mana Dreadnought with Force of Will backup. And while this thing does not have modular, I'll go ahead and kill it. Hell of a turn cycle. My opponent said, well, everything is awful now. I did you dirty, friend. I really did. New Urza Saga is reasonable, but just too slow. Yep, that resolves. Arcbound Ravager. I don't think I care. Go ahead and brainstorm. Put back Greater Good. Trop. Make a land drop with 2 Force of Wills available. Swinging for 12. You're at 6. Hello and good luck. Yep. Do I have a bullshit artifact hate card in my graveyard? Yes, I do. I have Null Rods. Fantastic. Karakas is sort of a neat land drop versus my opponent's deck. It does bounce Zabaz, which is a thing. I don't think I care about that. I think I've got 3 cards that I'm bringing in, and Karakas is technically on the table. I wouldn't bring in Crop Rotation for it, but it's a thing. Randomly having a bunch of dress downs is kind of nice versus my opponent. Minor Misstep does stuff. It counters Hardened Scales. A little awkward when I'm on the draw. Not super flexible. It misses a bunch of super relevant 2-drops. Feels like if I make one 12/12 size creature, that's usually going to be good enough. I don't know that I need this stuff. Like, I can just play these 4 if I cut the Greater Goods. My opponent has potentially, I think, 6 sideboard cards I can answer if I Phyrexian Dreadnought. I think it was 2 or 3 swords. I think it was 3 Swords of Plowshares, 2 Prismatic Endings, or vice versa. So something like 5 answers to my stuff. I don't know, maybe the Greater Goods are okay. Hunted Horror is not fantastic. I'm constantly disappointed by that card throughout this league. Maybe I keep a couple of Greater Goods over those. Null Rod keep. We'll see if my opponent can get super aggressive before I get stuff going. Esper Sentinel is fine. I will let my opponent draw a card in order to Null Rod them. Very happily. Ooh. The easiest way for me to lose a game if I Null Rod my opponent is to Urza Saga, and this covers that. I think I don't mess around with wastelanding their Savannah and hoping that it screws them over. They wouldn't keep a single land Esper Sentinel hand. Like, that just doesn't logistically make sense. I'll take this damage. Life's still pretty darn good. Sylvan Library is fine. I can clean that up later. Oz is fine. Force of Will is neat. I might just Boseiju my opponent's Sylvan Library this turn. I think it's very easy for me to lose to Sylvan Library. Let's clean that up. Goodbye, Library. I do not want to Force of Will anything. Like, I very much want this Uro as this game goes along, but there's certain things that could make my life very awkward. If I'm just taking 2 damage a turn, like, Uro will easily outpace that as the game goes to its medium stages. Okay. I just play Uro this turn for an extra land drop, I think. I don't know. I could get greedier and try to wait for greater good, but I think I like the way that this game is currently trending. Plus, a decent portion of the time I just draw a blue card here. Not this time, though. I'll just make a land drop. Uro goes to the bin. I don't have Force of Will available right now, but next turn I get to bring an Uro back if I would like. That's fine. Yep. My opponent currently does not have red mana to destroy a modular creature and do cute things with its ability. Green, green, green. All this needs to be is blue mana. Get an Underground Sea for variety. Force of Will. I think I just wait on the Null Rod still. That's now 5 cards in the bin. Grab another Underground Sea. Clear the whole graveyard for Uro. Draw a card. Do I Force of Will this? I think so. A little awkward if they happen to have another thing in hand. Another white removal spell, but it has to be swords. It can't be prismatic ending. Drop a wasteland into play. And it seems like my mana is more important than their mana. I'm not going to wasteland them off of Savannah. Keeping my wasteland around also means that the Esper Sentinel does less. Okay, opponent is activating for flying. That's totally fine. Alright, cool. A new Sylvan Library. I'm okay with that. A lot less scary now that I have active Uro. I think I'll just start with an attack. See if my opponent wants to block. Slash how. So I'm going to go ahead and expend the dress down here. I'll do this, pay the tax, remove the modular ability. Force of Will is the pickup. Not currently great. So Esper Sentinel's tax is now paid. I don't feel like this is a card, or if it is, it's not very good. I am just at 18 life, though. Fine firing this off here, even if it's not taking a card. Ooh, it's taking a prismatic ending. That is perfectly reasonable. Now a lot of my opponent's things they can top deck, like Arcbound Ravager and Walking Ballista, are noticeably worse. Alright, my opponent is taking some damage. Alright, so you remember that Wasteland that I have, like, conscientiously not used all game? It's quite relevant here. Alright, the Vaz is coming on in. My opponent's leaving back some extra blockers. I think I'm just going to fetch to thin lands out of my deck here. Phyrexian Dreadnought, not doing a lot right now. It might in about 30 seconds, though, depending on how cheeky I want to get with this greater good. Okay, my opponent's just going to chomp. That's fine. I think I just keep this for Force of Will. I think I always Wasteland Urza Saga. Go ahead and play out a greater good. Paying the tax. I don't think I need to draw 12 cards right now. I know that's a wild sentence to say, but a permanent 12/12 is better than just drawing a whole bunch of cards. After I Force of Will, it's a different story. But this is Force of Will paying the tax for Esper Sentinel. Okay, sure. Oof. Ye old Tree of Tales, which takes up the land drop. Yep, that's fine. Second Dreadnought, though. Or second Dreadnought. I probably just draw 12. And sack it to greater good. This is so many cards. Discard Thoughtseize. Discard Uro. Discard greater good. Don't sack for that. Pay 4 life. Snuff out Zabaz. My opponent says your nonsense seems more powerful than my nonsense. Agree. I'm kind of doing my thing right now. You attempt to modular. I say no. Get rid of that. Make a land drop. Back for 6. Make another land drop. Opponent goes to 2. Yeah. Force of Vigor, Library, and some other card. There's a billion different ways that I could play this turn that all kind of lead to the same point. All right, they tap Ancient Tomb. They're literally tapping out. GG's. All right, that's it. We've made it to the end of the league, and honestly, we ended up 2 or 3 wins better than I expected. I looked at this deck list and I thought it was super sus. So overall thoughts on the deck list. I don't think this deck is in the correct colors. I think the black is very bad. I think getting black consistently with this mana base is pretty rough, and like that's why cards like Twilight Mire have slipped into the deck list, but this isn't going to be something that casts all of your blue cantrips that a lot of times you need on turn 1. I think if you want to play something like this, you put this into Bant colors, you get access to Prismatic Endings, Swords to Plowshares, Teferi, things like that I think are just much more flexible. I will say, I think this deck list is incredibly slow and incredibly clunky. However, once you do get going, it is strong. But Greater Good, for example, is a 4 mana card that does nothing on its own. And when I think about 4 mana cards in this format right now, I'm thinking about like Caves of Chaos Adventurers, Seasoned Dungeoneer, Jace the Mind Sculptor, and Jace is like very easily a tier or 2 below the power level of those other cards, like Natural Order. Those are the sorts of things that are setting the bar at 4 mana, and I don't think Greater Good is there. Like, you can potentially grind a control deck into dust with Greater Good, but as we saw in round 1, like, that's not always going to happen. If I were going to play this again, I would go into Bant, and I think I would also drop the crop rotation package. Like, crop rotation for 1 Wasteland Karakas Bojuka Bog, I don't think is better than just playing more generically good cards. And I think that's what being in Bant would allow you to do. Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please click the like button on the way out. It helps out a lot. If you have any thoughts on the deck building or anything, feel free to throw them in the comments. And I hope you have a great rest of the day. See ya!